Good afternoon, Chairman Cusack, Chairman Hines, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Dawn Ruffini, and I am the president of the Massachusetts Association of Realtors. It's a volunteer organization with more than 27,000 members statewide. We staunchly oppose transfer taxes, including those proposed in H 4637. Massachusetts is in a housing crisis, and realtors are on the front lines. We applaud the legislature for taking important first steps to address it with the housing choices and MBTA community laws enacted last session, and urge you to continue zoning reform, such as those contained in H 298, to increase housing production. Transfer taxes will harm our communities. They raise the barrier to enter towns, increase income stratification, and constraining diversity and inclusivity, thereby enforcing pre-existing patterns of de facto segregation. Carve-outs such as those proposed in H 4637 do little to help, especially in a place like Boston, where average home prices are already $1 million plus. Taxing $2 million homes will increase competition for those homes below the tax threshold. Transfer taxes are unfair, collecting from approximately 2.5% of the population that buy or sell a home each year. They're also unnecessary. The current housing crisis does not derive from a lack of funding, but rather a lack of housing production, and Boston provides a terrific example. The city has spent roughly $40 million annually on affordable housing creation and preservation in recent years. Meanwhile, over the last 2 years alone, the city has collected $234 million in linkage fees, inclusionary development fees, community impact short-term rental taxes, and federal grants. It also received $558 million in ARPA funds, of which only 5% have thus far been authorized for housing purposes. That's almost $800 million before touching the Community Preservation Act, or CPA. MAR was instrumental in creating the CPA 22 years ago as a means of funding affordable housing and bolstering municipal budgets. It has provided $635 million for affordable housing and raised $2.7 billion for local initiatives through property taxes and registry surcharges, all paid for by homeowners. Boston only just adopted the CPA in the last 5 years and did so at a greatly reduced surcharge rate of 1/3 the possible 3%. As a result, the city has forfeited $198 million and 4,600 affordable housing units, not to mention 14 years worth of CPA benefits, totaling hundreds of millions and tens of thousands of homes. Each year at 1%, the city is choosing to forego $60 million. Yet even with a mere 1% CPA charge, the city has raised over $100 million under this program, but still has not made housing a top priority. Boston could devote up to 80% of CPA funds to affordable housing, but instead has averaged under 50% annually. Most notably in 2021, Boston devoted 19% more funding to open space and recreational uses than to affordable housing. This is not a funding problem. This is a housing production problem. The state has a severe supply and demand problem driven by decades of NIMBYism. Statewide monthly housing inventory has dropped 84% over the last 14 years, while its population has increased 17%, resulting in a 52% increase in home prices. At the same time, housing production for the past 15 years is 60% below the 1980s. Boston does not need to tax housing. It needs to devote available funds and maximize existing programs to build more housing. We urge you to oppose transfer taxes. Rather than charge homeowners for their community's reluctance to use existing resources, create and support pro-development policies and require the use of the ample funds available before considering new taxes. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify on this bill.